The chair recognizes the gentleman from Pennsylvania, Mr. Thompson.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Director, for being here. Director, there are documents and audio recordings that confirm that several members of your team from both DOI and OSM, as well as the cooperating agencies, including OMB, Army Corps, EPA, and the contractors, had significant concerns with the timeline and process of this rulemaking. Specifically, there were concerns about the pace of the rulemaking, the method in which you were doing the work, the tribal consultation process, and the results that you were getting. But most of these documents are so redacted. I know the gentlelady had one with just one small area, but that information about what the specific problems were or how you intend to solve them is completely blacked out. Has my first question is, has OSM completed the environmental impact statement, the EIS, and the regulatory impact analysis, the RIA, for the new rule that you will be proposing?
No, we are still in the process of analyzing alternatives and developing a proposed rule.
When can we expect to see OSM complete those documents, and will you give us a timeline for presentation to the committee of those documents?
I cannot, and I won't speculate on when we can do that. We have to complete the analysis and follow the rules to make sure we have properly follow the Administrative Procedure Act and NEPA on that, and I'm not going to hazard a guess as to when we will be able to do that.
Well, let me reflect back then. More than 18 months ago, the drafts of the EIS and the RIA showed an expected devastating impact on small business, economic harm in 22 states, and a loss of at least 7,000 jobs. However, you previously testified that those numbers were fabricated, and this is your quote, fabricated based on placeholder numbers and have no basis in fact, end quote. Now, documents released by this committee show that those numbers were not placeholders, but instead the result of extensive analysis by the contractors and real consternation by your agency. Clearly, the audio tapes and the documents released by this committee show that these were the real impacts and that OSM was attempting to find ways to mitigate both the public perception, the release of those numbers, and change the underlying assumptions used to reach those numbers. Now, do you continue to assert that those were, quote, placeholder numbers, or do you want to revise your previous testimony?
At the time I made that statement, the information I had that those were placeholder numbers, and as I understood placeholders, that they did not have any basis in fact. That was my understanding at the time.
So, but today, do you still claim that those are placeholders or not?
My understanding that it was a placeholder numbers. I believe I've seen an email that indicated from one of the contractors it was a placeholder numbers, but I have since learned that their definition of placeholder was different than was my understanding.
Okay, so today you don't believe that they were placeholder numbers. So if those numbers published more than 18 months ago, frankly, were placeholders based on your understanding with no basis in fact, why were they included in the draft documents sent at that time to the cooperating agencies for review under OSM's name and letterhead, and how can you expect cooperating agencies to review documents with what you've described at that point in time that you believe were placeholder numbers?
That was part of our effort to be more open and transparent by including these states as cooperating agencies, and as part of our process of being more open and transparent, the states received the contractor's first working draft at the same time that we did. So the states got to see it at the same time we did, and we had no basis and didn't have the understanding. We did not have an opportunity before.
Well, I'm concerned with the fact that that you've come to this illumination that wasn't placeholder. They were real numbers. But we're proceeding with what you see are credible, a loss of 7,000 jobs in this proposal. The 2008 stream buffer zone rule reportedly took 5 years of analysis, millions of dollars of scientific and environmental studies, and were published with the concurrence of the EPA. You have already spent millions of dollars on the new rule on contracts alone, not including thousands of man hours and salaries of your own agency personnel, and there's no rule in place. Now, at this point, can you provide the total amount of money that the stream protection rule will cost the taxpayers when it is completed?
I believe that we have spent about $7.7 million to date on that. As far as what the total value would be, that is not possible for me to predict, because once we have the proposed rule out, one of the things that will have an impact on what those ultimate costs would be is the number of comments that we received, the quality and substance of the comments, and how much time it takes to review and assess and evaluate those and decide what appropriate changes to make in response to those comments.
Thank you, Director. My time's expired.
Time of the gentleman has expired.